drug policies to be rooted in compassion and a public health approach and not a criminal justice one. This war on drugs has failed consistently and it will always fail until we actually start to reframe and reform how we look at people who use drugs. So lifting the federal ban on syringes and overturning the crack house statute are like key federal policies and platforms that we'd love to see to help get us there.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
What's your response?
I'll learn more, but I mean, it seems to me that that would be a natural thing to do. I mean, I come at it from a federalism perspective, right? So if a community is ready to make that move, which is not easy, right? I mean, we know the political barriers to trying to do a SIF or a lot of these things. If a community is ready to make that move, for them to get that far only to have federal intervention prevent it in a way that's obviously contrary to what we know about public health is disturbing. So I had not understood that angle, but I expect I'll have some things to say about that. Our focus at home is on medication-assisted therapy, decriminalization of drug use, talking about addiction as a medical rather than kind of criminal or moral matter. And I think we have a window now because people increasingly get it. I mean, it kind of took the opioid crisis for the political balance to shift on. And there are a lot of people in our community who are saying it's great that you're very enlightened now, right? Where were you then? And so I think we've got to look at the racial justice angle as we ask about, okay, all the different disparities we have in the way that different addictions are treated. But bottom line is I think there's finally a window for this to be led by public health rather than to be led by the kind of law and order narrative. And I'm glad you shared that because I had not thought about the federal issue.
And then there's a dimension about the global epidemic as well, as in for many drug users and other criminalized populations in Central Asia, Eastern Europe, and South Asia, and Southeast Asia, this is the core driver of criminalization, non-evidence-based policies from governments, and having leadership from a politician who's actually able to say, at home, this is the policy, and this is what we want to spread abroad, will save countless lives. Contrast that with what's happening now, where the Russian Federation, other countries and regions where the bulk of new infections, where the HIV epidemic is actually expanding, whereas in many countries in East and Southern Africa, incidence is plateauing or even going down. It's expanding in these other places because the global community is standing by while presidents and other heads of state are abandoning the human rights of people who use drugs, their lovers, their communities. And so being able to take this on as a diplomatic issue, as a public health crisis, and as a human rights crisis is an imperative, and that requires consistency with what's happening in the United States too, and that's what we're insisting candidates line up and push forward, because the consequences are tremendous.
That's been the thrust of our foreign policy approach overall. I gave a speech a couple of weeks ago at IU on kind of what the foreign policy outlook would be, and part of what I said was that we are needed right now to be modeling the kinds of commitments to human rights and democracy that are America at its best, but that we are increasingly kind of suspect in even demonstrating we care about at home, let alone abroad. But that it's especially important among countries where we have some level of leverage, right? That we demonstrate some commitment there. So we know that anywhere people are made vulnerable or marginalized for socio-political reasons, they're generally also more vulnerable medically, right? I mean, this is how part of how it works. I would want to. I'm glad you flagged it in a way that I can kind of more explicitly tie that to the global campaign against HIV/AIDS, because I think the dots are all there, but I'm not sure I've ever connected them in a speech before. The countries you mentioned, it's interesting. So. Obviously, the Russian Federation, we know what's going on there, but are there countries where the U.S. does have more leverage, or we think if we showed up, we would be able to get more results? And has there been even kind of, at least in terms of lip service, has there been any evidence that this is being connected to what the current administration is doing or claims to be doing towards dealing with HIV/AIDS?
Well, globally, the current administration has proposed eviscerating cuts to PEPFAR and the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis,
Right.
and malaria, which are the flagship programs that are really
You mean in the budget, right?
correct. Yeah, in the budget proposal. And what Congress has done is more or less flat fund these programs for about 7 years running. Now, infectious disease requires, in particular HIV, but any pandemic, requires spending more to get ahead.
Right.
Otherwise, you risk resurgence, you come back to a pandemic that was different from what you thought you had.
And you spend more in the long run.
Absolutely. It's not just morally the correct thing to do. I mean, any measure.
Proverbial ounce of prevention.
Absolutely. And in this case, Congress has consistently resisted